Second lesson is taken from Psalm 22. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me and from the words of my groaning? Oh my God, I cry out in the daytime, but you do not hear. And in the night season, I am not silent. But you are holy, enthroned in the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in you. They trusted in you and you delivered them. They cried out to you and were delivered. They trusted in you and were not ashamed. I am a worm. I am no man, a reproach of men and despised by the people. All those who see me ridicule me. They shoot out their lip. They shake their head, saying, He trusted in the Lord. Let him rescue him. Let him deliver him, since he delights in him. But you are he who took me out of the womb. You made me trust while at my mother's breasts. I was cast upon you from birth. From my mother's womb you have been my God. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, and there is none to help. Many bulls have surrounded me. Strong bulls of Bashan have encircled me. They gape at me with their mouths like raging and roaring lions. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted within me. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue clings to the roof of my mouth. You have brought me to the dust of death. For dogs have surrounded me. The congregation of those who are wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I can count my bones. They look and stare at me. They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. But you, O Lord, be not far from me. O my strength, hasten to help me. Deliver me from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth and from the horns of the wicked oxen. You have answered me. I will declare your name to my brethren. In the midst of the assembly I will appraise you. You who fear the Lord, rejoice in him. All you descendants of Jacob, glorify him and fear him, all you offspring of Israel. For he has not despised nor abhorred the affliction of the afflicted, nor has he hidden his face from him. But when he cried to him, the Lord heard. My praise shall be of you in the great assembly. I will pay my vows before those who fear you. Amen. Our final lesson is taken from the work Arcana Celestia number 7784, concerning dogs and how they're mentioned in various scriptures. Dogs denote those who are in the lowest place within the church, who blather much about the things of the church but understand little. And in the opposite sense, so that was the good sense. In the opposite sense, those who subject matters to faith alone. In Isaiah, quote, watchmen are all blind. They do not know. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, looking on, lying down, loving to sleep. And in Matthew, do not give what is holy to the dogs. Do not cast your pearls before swine, lest perhaps they trample on them with their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Amen. A guard over my mouth, O Lord. Keep watch over the doors of my lips. These words, which were the response as we opened the worship service this morning, the response of taken from Psalm 141, find an echoing in what is said in the Sermon on the Mount. And then we hear about dogs mentioned in the earlier lesson from the other psalm we read this morning, Psalm 22. And the Lord saying in the Sermon on the Mount, do not place holy things before the dogs. Do not cast your pearl before swine, lest they trample on them and then turn and rend you or tear you. Now, there's much worldly wisdom, simple wisdom, ideas that can easily be applied in the Lord's Sermon on the Mount and in all the teachings of the Word itself. The literal sense of the word, we're told, is for the simple in us, for children in us, and literally for people who aren't as brilliantly, analytically intellectual as some others might be. Remember, the Lord chose fishermen. He didn't choose the philosophers and the doctors of the temple. He chose simple fishermen. And the Lord heard the praises come from the lips of children. Do not give that which is holy to the dogs, neither cast your pearl before swine. Now, we've probably all heard that applied in various ways. So the outward teaching about this isn't difficult to understand at all, is it? We should keep good boundaries and not give over from ourselves things which we hold precious and dear to people that, or into situations where those things would be disregarded. We have to protect that which is within us. We protect ourselves as well because we are attached and feel deeply about the things from the Lord's Word, the things that we have striven to have the Lord provide within us. We're not just to put them out there to everybody, lest what is holy be despised by that which is dog-like among others, and not take that which is holy like pearls, the pearls of wisdom from the Word, the pearl that is the pearl of great price that the Lord provides for us from His teachings through us applying those teachings to our lives. They shouldn't be set before pigs. So it's easy to apply that in a social situation. Good to apply it in the media of which our lives are surrounded. How you're seeing me now is through the technology of today. It's very easy to apply this and say, I'm going to be careful about what I put out there. I'm going to be careful. Don't want to just share everything. Don't want to share deep and precious things. And sure enough, it's almost as if the whole world out there is focused on finding little things to start a fight over on social media. It's supposed to be social. Not supposed to be warfare. And it seems more and more the conditions are such, I believe a lot because of the pandemic, I believe a lot because of political situations related to the economy among our neighbors, related to our own strife and sense of unease because of the world situation. It's very easy then for people to pick fights. Find something little or big, to go at it with somebody else. And it could be a complete stranger. It could be somebody who you considered a close friend. This is nothing new. The sad reading, the sadness in the reading from Psalm 22 tells you this is nothing new. Now that reading in Psalm 22 is obviously something that was given that would apply to the Lord's life Himself when He was hanging on the cross. All my bones ache. I can count them. My heart is melting. My God, why have you forsaken me? Those were the literal words He spoke that are spoken of in Psalm 22, written hundreds of years as a prophetic psalm concerning what the Lord would go through. It's nothing new to have that which is holy trampled upon, that which is sacred, that which is precious being rent to pieces. It's nothing new that it can be done by the people in our own home. In that psalm, it talks about my companions. In another psalm, it talks about my friends. My friends, these are my friends, and look at them. And it compares them in Psalm 22 to dogs. My companions are like the dogs that surround me. They're like raging bulls. They're like lions. They're like swine. So we can easily look at that and apply it to those people. Those people out there that aren't safe. And that's a good application to start with. We just can't stay there. We can't stay with that idea that it's out there. The Lord didn't give His Word so we could apply it to other people, right? The Lord gave His Word so we can apply it to ourselves. Which is why that Psalm 141 from the responsive reading, that's where we start. Lord, put a guard over my mouth, a doorway, protect my lips from speaking out against others. A lot of common wisdom just in the saying that, when you point your hand at somebody else, there's 3 other fingers pointing back at you. You're given 2 ears to listen to other people and 1 mouth to speak your truth. The Lord didn't give His Word merely for the sake of us building up natural or common wisdom. He gave His Word so that He could build up in us His divine coming into us, that it may be protected, that it may be cherished, that we may have what we feel as if it's our own part in providing a place where the Lord can be born within us. The Lord's such a great God. The Lord gives us everything we need to feel like it's totally our work to protect that which is holy and sacred within us. Meaningful. Our lives should have that sense of meaningfulness about what we are doing to allow the Lord to be our God. What do you need to do? And the pastoral role is to shepherd people and ask them and to have you think, what are you doing in your journey towards the Lord? That's the role of the church as your spiritual mother, is to provide that sense of nourishment and a sense of safety within the context of the dogs and the raging bulls and the lions out there. But the Lord didn't give His Word for the sake of worldly wisdom. He gave it for the sake of us looking within. We first learn the things of the literal sense and of the natural world and of the natural sense of the Word, and then the Lord gives us, as if we have it of our own brilliance or our own abilities, or He gives us rationality and freedom, and that rationality is His gift, it's His with us, so that we can have a sense of our own accomplishment, our own sense of involvement in the Lord building up His kingdom within us. It looks that way. It feels that way. That's the way the Lord wants it to be. What a great parent. Don't cast your pearl before swine. Don't give what you have that's holy to the dogs. There is a natural DNA to our proprial lives, that which is our own, that isn't the divine's, everything's the Lord's, but we have this ownership that is our own, and it's just made up of dog-like things. Now, dogs are good, but dogs can be very cruel. Dogs are wonderful. We probably know somebody who has a pet dog, or maybe you yourself have a pet dog, or 2 or 3, and you love them because they're so great. Dogs are great. Unless, of course, there is a dog that would nip at you or a child, or worse than that, really bite you hard or really hurt a child, it's almost something that is beyond scary for a normal situation involved with dogs. They are meant to scare. And they've been bred, certain dogs have been bred to do their work of scaring people and guarding. So in a good sense, when in Psalm 141 it says, "Guard my lips," put a dog at my lips, O Lord. Put something that is really powerful and loyal to you at the entry point of my mouth, where I would say things or I would take in things that are wrong. Set a guard over my mouth, O Lord. The negative side of the DNA of dogs that we share, spiritually speaking, all of us are born with a tendency to tear apart whatever we don't feel to be our own, whatever we don't feel to support what we love. And in fact, in certain social situations, and sadly on social media, there are certain situations that are actually created to rile us up. We have all heard the phrase sex sells when it comes to media. And we all know that violence sells when it comes to media. Scandal sells. Things that we could gossip about our neighbor over. That gets people interested. Many of us really love sports, but sometimes there's something about that fight during the game that we're more interested in than we are the game itself. We have to watch what it is within us that is just dog-like and pig or swine-like, that simply wants to see something torn up, something beat up, something hurt, something scandalous, something sexy. What is it within us that wants that? And that's what the Lord is asking us to be really careful about. And the golden rule, as it applies here, is don't provide somebody else a situation where they're brought to their weak points, their temptations to enter into scandal or fights or things that are unholy. Don't be the person who provides that for somebody else, as you don't want somebody else triggering you. So the first place to apply this teaching about not casting your pearl before swine and putting what is holy before the dogs is, of course, in you. How are we taken up with the desire for something scandalous? Let's have a fight. What is it about us? Well, it's a delicate balance between that which is our own from the Lord and that which is our own from ourselves. There's a division. The Lord gives us this heavenly proprium, a heavenly ownership of what is from Him in us that appears to be our own. So if we're having a sense that we're making spiritual progress, we find the Lord closer than we used to, we find ourselves struggling through and having a sense of being more reformed and not so tempted or not entering into behaviors that we used to be into, we feel like we're making progress. We're told in the Word that there are signs when those things take place within us that we are coming closer to the Lord. And one of them is when we realize that we're really repulsed by fighting. We're repulsed by fighting. Oh, the Lord's going to take away all the good stuff. Can't watch a hockey game anymore. Oh. You know, people are going to fight. But are we encouraging it? And, oh Lord, set a guard over my lips that I don't subtly or not so subtly get somebody else to fight. And what's really sad and amazing in many ways is that so many people have an ability to subtly throw a bomb into a situation that nobody even knew went off. Can you imagine situations where all of a sudden, after a situation, you look back and you go, oh my goodness, when he said that started a whole train of thought that led to that fight, didn't it? When she looked that way at her, when she did this, that started a reaction going on in that social situation where all of a sudden those two women began to fight, and she just stood back and watched. She knew exactly what she was doing, didn't she? So you could say, those people who do that, those people, they're the dogs. Do you do that? And maybe you're not a brilliant, person that can figure out how to strategically get this subtle stuff implanted. Maybe you're not a great strategist person. What's the word called? Strategist in social situations. But all of us have that part to play to watch how we are contributing to. Are we now more of the problem than we are the solution? Because the Lord's saying, don't do that. Don't be the dogs. Don't be the pigs. Don't have that within yourself that encourages that which is holy or that which is of the Word to be hurt or torn within you. It's our first job to apply it to ourselves. So this is the heredity of all of us in our own nature, our own DNA, if you want. We share that DNA with dogs and pigs. We share that DNA with scorpions and lions. Now, don't go biological and scientific exactly. We're all mammals. We're all of the dirt of the earth. Leave it at that if you don't want to go into whether there's any DNA that's similar or how much percentage we have with chimpanzees or apes or worms. In Psalm 22, the Lord, through David, says, I am a worm. I am no man. We all need to be able to look within ourselves, pray to the Lord to build up His heavenly own, and pray that He gives us the wisdom we need to protect that. Yes, on a natural or social or civil level, we don't share that which is precious from the Lord just anywhere. We're careful how we share our deepest spiritual values and beliefs. And we search diligently. We search to find others that will respect and love those same values. That, in one sense, is the deepest journey and most important journey of our natural and spiritual lives, is to come into communion with others who value those very same things, and to have a deep sense of trust with your best friend, with your brother or sister in the Lord, with your partner in an effort to enter into the conjugal, which is the marriage of good and truth. To have that full confidence to be able to share what is most precious. And that is where what's really important truly does sell. We're told not to lay up treasures on earth where rust and moth can corrupt and where thieves can break through and steal, but to lay up those treasures in heaven. Those treasures, those heavenly pearls of wisdom, the pearl of great price, the pearl of conjugal love, those values that we have from the divine that are building up within us and which need protection. we need to also find others with whom we can have confidence to share those things. Because we're not alone. And amazingly, in this pandemic where we are all more separated than we've ever been, we can find communities through the media of the internet, YouTube, our website channel, live streaming. We can really connect with people who really value the same things we do. So let's do that. Let's build up and continue to build that community until we can fill the pews again. And guard our lips, O Lord, from simply looking for places where there's another fight, something interesting, some gossip, some scandal, some division, where we can take a side so that we can fight against somebody else. It's glorified, that kind of thing, but not in the Lord's Word it isn't. So let us apply that golden rule to ourselves to only put out to others what will bring them closer to that spiritual community where love and trust and confidence can be increased. Let's put that out there. Let's increase that, to do that to others because we want that done to us. We want people to guard their doors and not trigger us through incendiary things that are found on email messages or texts or Instagram or Facebook. Stop sending those things out. Try not to read them and think you have to reply as well, because people love to start fights. Something in us loves a fight. Oh Lord, help me not want to enter into that kind of controversy, into that kind of struggle. The world's going through a pandemic. Our friends to the south have made a decision about their leadership and government. There'll be more fights, but there's a sense of peace also with just having that over. When there's an election and it's done, got that out of the way, ready for the next set of challenges. In our own personal lives, we each also must decide to choose our battles wisely, not throw stuff away, not cast before the swine or the dogs that which is holy and precious, but to continue to build up a community online, in person, through the phone, by talking to people, whatever you can do to keep that which is holy and true from the Lord in a community where your human is coming into the image and likeness of the divine human. O Lord, set a guard over my mouth and a door upon my lips, that we ourselves don't enter into and do those things which encourage what is unholy to be set before that which within us would tear it apart. Amen.